This week on Here for the Right Reasons, Matt James is officially our new Bachelor, and he's a little nervous.
And now I'm starting to feel the pressure to impress them all. And I am beyond nervous. My heart's pounding out of my chest.
Matt sits down with us to talk all about his journey for love.
I'm mostly excited. I don't really know what I would be nervous about. I'm very excited just to share this experience with everybody, my friends and family, and just to continue moving forward.
Plus, the ladies make their first impressions, some memorable and others we may want to forget.
If you're not going big with your entrance, then you're definitely wasting your time.
And Bachelor Nation gives their advice to Matt as he gears up for a wild ride.
That's just like, be present, be in that moment, and take it for what it is. Don't get enamored by all the glitz and glamours of how amazing these days can be. Really see what this is.
We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly senior writer Sarah HEARON. Sarah, Happy New Year and welcome to a new season of The Bachelor.
Happy New Year, Christina. A new season of The Bachelor, kick off 2021 just like God intended.
Exactly. It's what we needed in this time right now. So we have a lot to get to. We have a lot to break down.
Yes, we do. And I think we should just start with our man, with our leading guy, Matt James, the one and only.
The one and only. Let's talk about in our bracket of roses. So what are your thoughts on Matt so far? I mean, we've only seen one episode, but I like it so far.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think they really leaned into the whole he's new to this reality TV thing. I'm sure they had that whole chat with Chris Harrison planned, next to the fireplace, but they had to make it seem like he was like, hold up, like, are we going to talk? What's a rose ceremony? How much do you think he really didn't know? Do you think he'd never watched the show? Did he not watch Tyler on it?
I'm sure he knew a little bit going into it. I'm sure he got the 101 from Tyler before he got on the show. But I mean, I'm sure it's a totally different experience being the lead as opposed to being a contestant. Like this, the whole focus is on him. And I'm sure it's a lot for somebody that's never really been on camera before to kind of lead this entire show and meet all these women and kind of, be vulnerable. It's a lot to ask of somebody, but I think he did a good job so far. You could see as the night progressed, he was getting a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and his nervousness was actually quite refreshing because a lot of times you do see, especially on The Bachelor, the guys can be a little cocky and they have all these gorgeous women, which, by the way, is this the prettiest group of girls ever?
So gorgeous.
Ridiculous. And it was cute. He was leaning into it and he definitely got more comfortable. I would love to know, behind the scenes, how many questions he was really asking Chris Harrison, how many girls, if he could remember any of their names. I feel like he was probably staring at the camera. I would love to see bloopers of his first night.
I was thinking that as well. I'm I wonder if somebody's in the corner with holding up signs of their names because I wouldn't be able to remember. How many did he keep? 20 plus people? That's a lot to remember.
And I'm sure all bachelors have that problem and probably bachelorettes, and I'm sure the producers help them, but it's also were they holding up cue cards of words like vulnerable and open up because he hit all the bachelor keywords for a guy who's never been on the show before.
He really did. He studied hard. He really did. Do we think he's going to live up to the hype? Everybody's been talking about how he's such a great guy and, he is really in it to, find the one. So, I think he might live up to the hype.
Yeah, I think he's going to live up to the hype. My prediction based off of this one episode and just watching the show for so long is I think he's going to come out a good guy, like a Ben Higgins-y Sean Lowe type, but I don't know if he's going to find the one just because of everything we've heard about him never being in love before. This is his first time on TV. I'm sure he's going to be respectful and there's going to be drama and he's going to try, but I don't know if he's going to just find his wife magically on the show after never doing it before. That's just my guess.
I totally agree with you, but we'll have to wait and see. We have a long way to go, right?
We do, but we did talk to Matt. We did talk to Matt recently, and he spoke to us about the pressure of falling in love. So check out what Matt had to say about this whole thing.
Chris had said in the first episode, the whole point is about finding joy, finding peace. Do you feel that now? Are you happy?
Yeah. Do I look happy? I'm excited. It was one of the toughest things I've had to do, but I would do it again to net out everything that's happened.
It's interesting that you said one of the toughest things. I feel like a couple past Bachelor and Bachelorettes have said that as much as it's enjoyable, it's extremely difficult. Was it tough for you?
It's tough because there's a lot of things that I've avoided in my personal life that as you saw in the in the preview, brought me to tears. Just there's a lot of emotional situations and life experiences I've gone through that I've kind of to repress, and those things came to light when you're trying to have these women know everything about you, and I want to be vulnerable and show them that I'm here and I'm not going to hold back. And you never know where that's going to take you when you're that real in the moment, you know.
How emotional did you get? How many tears can we expect?
I don't know if it's not every episode, but there's definitely times where, you know, I got emotional because it was real for me. And it's what I would expect out of myself when you become emotionally attached the way that I did, and when you dive into the conversations that we did, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked to Chris last week, and he had told us that you guys at one point had words, was his quote, butted heads a little bit. How would you describe your dynamic through the season?
He's like my dad, like tough love, you know. He's like, he has my best interest in mind, but like that doesn't mean he's not gonna lean into me. And I appreciated it, you know, because you need someone to keep you accountable, and he definitely did that throughout my entire time.
For sure. He also told us that at one point he was kind of afraid that you were going to throw in the towel, which I think in every season there's kind of that point where people maybe consider it. Was that something you've ever considered?
I will say that, you know, emotions ran high, and it's what you can prepare for is nothing like what you experience. And I had a bunch of conversations with Bachelor, Bachelorette alumni, and they gave me great advice, but just being there in that moment, it's like nothing could prepare me for what I was experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a normal experience, so it's a little different.
Yeah. Yep.
How hard was it for you to let that guard down? Because that is such a struggle for you generally. It's one thing to say, you know, I want to be vulnerable, I want to open up, but it's a whole other thing to actually do it.
It was difficult leading up to the show, because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to leave this out. And then when I got there, I put everything on the table. Like, I put it all out there because I need them to know who I am, where I'm coming from, what I've been through, for them to make an assessment on me. Because, you know, I'm courting them, but they're courting me. Like, they were like, this guy's not what I'm into. I'm out. I want them to be able to make that assessment on me too. And that only comes through being real with them and not holding back, you know?
Yeah, it seems like he's ready. And he definitely said that, you know, he made himself emotionally available to multiple women. He, you know, felt attraction, and, you know, I mean, how can you not? They were so beautiful, like you said.
I know. And we have to talk about these limo entrances because it felt like there were so many.
There were so many, some memorable, some not so much. So let's take a look at some of our favorite.
And I realized I don't know anything about you, so what better opportunity to figure out what you like than to ask for your opinion on what I should wear? So what do you think of my balls?
Not bad.
They're my meatballs.
I just want to like put my best foot forward.
You good?
I'm good.
So, okay, so what was your favorite entrance?
Wow, what a question. I mean, we got to talk about the vibrator girl and the lingerie, which I'm sure we'll get to, and Queen Victoria, who I'm on the cringy side.
Yeah.
I like when they go a little subtle with the like cutesy lines. Like, I didn't hate the like bachelor kit of like the exes. I liked the girl who had the pickup truck. It's so hard to remember their names. Kayla, I think.
Yes.
She was cute.
Right.
Yeah, what about you?
I was going to say, I was on the fence about Kayla. I think Kayla, the pickup truck girl at the beginning, because I'm like, oh, whatever, she's just rolling up in a truck. But I liked when they had their moment later when she brought in the sweet tea and kind of made it feel like home. I liked him. I liked her. But, you know, I just feel like, I mean, I didn't really understand why that girl rolled up in a Bentley. Just because you're from New York City doesn't mean you drive a Bentley. I don't really understand that.
Cannot relate.
Cannot relate at all. I don't know. I just feel like there used to be, they used to really, really bring it. And I've been a little disappointed these past couple seasons with the entrances.
I wonder if it's the same thing with the job descriptions where they just went like so over the top, where like by Juan Pablo's season, like no one had a real job. And then it became like the joke. So then they toned it back too much, and now it's like only one joking job, which is probably for the best. With the limo entrances, I think maybe the criticism was like, this is so stupid. And now it's like kind of boring, but at the same time, like I kind of like the boring because I just take them more seriously, but I also want to be entertained. So you can't ever get what you want.
Yeah, you can't ever get what you want. What did you think of the spaghetti girl that did the Lady in the Tramp moment?
I don't like when they do the forced first kiss. I think it's weird. I understand like the motive, and it happens every season, and I'm sure producers are like, we got to get the girl who's gonna like go for it because it takes them by surprise. But I don't know. In 2021, I feel like we can put away the like forced first kiss on night one. I don't know.
I totally agree with you. I did like the window of judgment where everybody was kind of watching from above to see these entrances, and they're just criticizing everything that goes on, which I kind of loved.
Can we talk about this resort upgrade? Like La Quinta Inn is shaking. Like this is like, I want to move to this Pennsylvania castle.
It is absolutely stunning. I never realized that like something like this was, I mean, it's not right around the corner, but it's not too far from where we are. So
it's huge. It gave me like Housewives vibes. Like they were at a reunion set or something. Like it was I was just so happy to not be in Palm Springs, and I'm sure so was Chris Harrison. And Matt James doesn't know how lucky he has.
Really, such an upgrade. So what did we think, obviously, of once the entrances are done, we kind of get some one-on-one time. And obviously somebody that caught Matt's eye was Abigail.
Yes.
Got the first impression rose. And I mean, you can kind of see why. She's absolutely adorable. And she kind of, the key word of the night, she was vulnerable.
Yes. I think what was so cool about Abigail, one is she's gorgeous too. But in their intro, you could tell she seemed nervous, and she opened up about having her hearing impairment right away, which was, I thought, like cool that she just went for it. And she was like, this is something you have to know about me, versus like when they tiptoe around some like big story. So I loved that. And I also I noticed they didn't hug. You could tell she was really nervous. He was really nervous. But then by the end of their one-on-one time, when they were like full on making out, I was like, oh, like they already kind of have had a little growth, and that's kind of nice to see.
I did enjoy that. The only thing that kind of worries me is that in the teaser at the end, I feel like we didn't really see her that much. Maybe that was on purpose because maybe, she gets kind of far. I don't know. But I was like, where's Abigail?
We know for a fact that while the Bachelorettes typically keep their first impression rose winner very long, the Bachelors don't have quite as much success with staying with their first impression rose winner. I believe Peter picked Hannah Ann, which, means nothing. And I know we're going to touch on him a little later. But so that's something to keep an eye on. But I did pick a way too soon final five. And I put her in it just because I was like, if I have to pick this on night one, I'm going to put the girl who gets the first impression rose. And there's connection there.
Definitely. So, and then we had our first rose ceremony, and there was a couple surprising exits, I think. I think we both agree that Alicia, the ballerina, I was really surprised that he let her go so soon.
Justice?
She got like a whole intro at the beginning.
They're messing with us. They definitely, because I had her like on the thing like, oh, watch out for the ballerina. Like she's cute and she feels like she's going to be comfortable in front of the camera. And sent home night one. I feel like she deserved justice. She was like a grocery store Joe. We could have gotten more from her.
Could have gotten more, but who knows? Maybe we'll see her in paradise. I don't know.
Oh,
and then
maybe.
The rest of them, I don't really remember.
Yeah, she was the only one that I was like, oh, Alicia, damn. But then when we found out on the promo that there was more girls coming, I was like, oh my God.
More girls. We're going to talk about some of them a little bit later on because of one familiar face. So we're definitely going to talk more about that later. But let's move on to our cringe of the week.
Wow. I mean, does anyone say cringe like Queen Victoria?
Oh my God. I don't know about that. Yes. I mean, let's take a look at some of Queen Victoria's most cringeworthy moments.
So I was born and raised in New York City, and I know you are a New Yorker now.
I'm gonna call myself a New Yorker. I've lived there for 3 years now.
Hi. Yeah.
Hey.
Excuse me, princess, but the queen is here.
Okay.
Thank you for this.
Nice to meet you.
She definitely gives me those Corinne vibes, but Corinne was somebody that definitely grew on you week after week, and you kind of like really liked her at the end of this. I don't see myself liking Queen Victoria at the end of this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm all for wanting to be a princess. I definitely probably leaned into that a little too long. I got the headband on, whatever. But you have to know going on television that you're gonna look kind of crazy and it's not gonna come off great. Like if you've ever watched the show, the girl who shows up in the tiara is not going to be portrayed wonderfully, which is fine. But like she really, I think maybe she was overserved because the way she was like getting involved in the drama, trying to tell the girls to go talk to him. And I think she was just trying to like befriend them, but they clearly weren't feeling it. Like the whole thing just made me uncomfortable, even more so than the Queen act, like her trying to like produce the show and be like, go talk to him.
Yeah, go talk to him. Go get those extra moments. I mean, you have to, I mean, as a viewer, you have to be aware that, you know, producers are telling her to probably hype this up a little bit. So that has to play into it. But I wonder if she's going to make it, you know, as far as like a Corinne did. I don't think so, but we'll have to wait and see.
I hope not. I mean, listen, we know that there's producer given roses. Like, everyone knows that. And so part of me was like, of course they're going to keep her. But in the back of my mind, I was like, maybe they will, you know, realize she served her purpose. Like, this girl showed up as a queen night one, like, and she had entertaining, she had, you know, her purpose during the episode. She was stirring the pot. But, like, I don't know what else she's going to give us. Yeah. So I feel like there's plenty of other things brewing. Kit kind of gave people villainy vibes on social media. Some of the girls, you know, seemed intense and already in love with him. So we have that going for us. Like, I feel like we don't need Victoria past night one. She's a night one girl.
Yes, I like that. She's a night one girl. Like you said, she served her purpose, and goodbye.
And for her sake, it's probably better for her to leave after.
Totally. Yes, I don't think she wants any more of this. All right. Well, another moment had to go to Kody, who maybe went a little too far with the whole vibrator act. Take a look.
And this just really got me through a lot. And I was hoping to pass the torch to you. But after seeing how you look and knowing that the fantasy suite is so far away, I actually am gonna need it just for like a little bit longer.
I mean, it was funny at first, a little kind of funny at first, and then like we just kept going and going and going. Like, we get it.
It's like classic this show. It goes too far. I think it was, you know, it was silly, but still like, and ridiculous. But for her to, you know, bring up the quarantine and everything, and then for them to call it MJ, like, it was stupid, but you knew she was going to stick around because it was like, how could he's not going to send her home. It's funny.
It is.
But at the same time, when she like was tapping the girl on the shoulder who was opening up about Puerto Rico and earthquakes, I was like, oh, they did her dirty that they sent her in to go interrupt him while she's like talking heartfelt. Like, I was like, ooh, not good.
Not a good move. Not a good move. I know we mentioned a little bit at the beginning about the girl in lingerie. What did you think about that one?
See, I almost think that that's like a little cringier. Yeah. Like, even the reoccurring vibrator was like, all right, we get it. But the lingerie, like, I get the point. Like, I couldn't figure out what to wear, but maybe she should have worn like a full-on bathrobe.
Yes, that would
just
be
like, I don't know.
I think that would have been a cute moment too, like, you know, one of those oversized giant hotel bathrobes.
Yeah,
I didn't really need to see. I mean, there's nothing really left in the imagination for Matt.
Right, and like, I don't know. You then after she did that, like, Matt James is going to say a prayer. Like, it's like, we've got a lot of things going on here.
That's true. We're saying a prayer in a girl with a bathrobe and a vibrator on the table.
Yeah, which they all, you know, the crying over the prayer, that's a whole other thing. But these girls, what we can say is they are all in on Matt James. There's no like surprise. They are really all in on him, which is, you know, going to make for quite the season.
Yes, totally. I mean, I get it. He's a tall drink of water. He really is.
Yeah, definitely was easy to look at.
Yep. All right. Well, moving on to our Where Are They Now segment. And if you stuck around for the previews for Matt's season, you definitely saw a familiar face in Heather Martin. Now, Heather shows up at the resort and appears to cause some controversy. So, Sarah, where have we seen her before?
We met Heather as, quote, never been kissed. That was her job description, so she got the shady one. On season 23, Colton Underwood's season of The Bachelor, she actually made it really far, and she did kiss Colton, so she had her first kiss with Colton on television, but then she quit, like, shortly before the hometowns, saying she wasn't ready. So we gotta love a girl who walks away because she doesn't want to expose her family to something that is absurd.
Right. It was kind of weird that of all people, she came back, because I was like, oh my God, why do I know this face? You know, I had to like go back and like look it up, and I wonder if they have like some sort of connection. I know that Heather is good friends with Hannah Brown, and Hannah, of course, was in quarantine with Matt and Tyler. So I don't know, maybe they have that connection going on.
I think it's gotta be a Hannah Brown connection. Yeah. My biggest question is, did Heather like was she on FaceTime with Hannah all the time and Matt would like pop in and they chatted or something and she realized, oh, he's so cute? Or did Hannah Brown go, oh, you have to show up, like it'll be great, like Matt won't send you home because you know me? Was this all her idea? Did Hannah, I'm sure Hannah knew, but like what part did Hannah play in it? And why couldn't she have just gone for it before Matt was the Bachelor? Like if she clearly had a connection, with him. So I don't know, I feel kind of bad for him. I don't like when they bring people from their past or like that they kind of know and ask if they can stay, because they're putting themselves in a situation for the other girls, no matter what, to be mad at them.
Right. And we do see a couple other girls, I think four girls total come in the middle of the season or maybe in a couple episodes and kind of stir the pot a little bit. And it seems like one of them really kind of riles the girls up. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but definitely a weird situation. But I agree. I don't like that either. I think it throws off the dynamic between the girls and Matt and kind of, throws them a little bit for a loop.
Yeah, and you can blame ABC on like random showing up,
right? Which,
as you know, we saw with the Tayshia Claire thing, some of those guys who showed up made it really far. Noah, Spencer at the first impression, so that was good for the season. But the old Bachelor people or their exes showing up, or like, it never ends well. Like, take a note from Nick Viall. Like, it really, like, you're not gonna get the girl if you show up. You're gonna get close again, but you're still not gonna get her.
Not gonna get her. Well, we had this week a sad Bachelor Nation breakup.
We did. I mean, we had two, technically. We had Carly and Evan, but then Carly and Evan, but then to ring in the new year, on New Year's Eve, hours before we said goodbye, we also had to say goodbye to former Bachelor Peter Weber and Kelly Flanagan, who, as we know, didn't pick each other on season 24 of The Bachelor, but after he broke up with both Hannah and Madison, he had this whirlwind 7-month romance with Kelly.
Yeah, and all of a sudden we thought maybe an engagement in their future, because they were going so strong. I mean, always posting on social media about how much they love each other. And then all of a sudden they are going their separate ways. And it seems like things are getting a little bit complicated now. I mean, we got reporting that she wasn't really blindsided by all this, but he is the one that ended it. Maybe Barb had something to do with it. I don't know.
I don't know either. I think that it was probably a combination of all of those things. A lot of times when I feel like these big Bachelor people break up and everyone's trying to figure out what happened and you hear both sides, it gets messy quick because I think everyone's getting defensive of their like side. There's been a lot of like random cheating allegations on these like blind gossip websites, but everything we've heard is that's like all not true. Yeah. And it was more so like Peter had it in his head. He wanted to move to New York. Kelly agreed to move to New York. Then she decided she didn't want to move to New York. So then they broke up, but then Barb was like, you have to get back together. And then he tried, and then she was like, your mom needs to get out of our relationship. And it was like, that checks out to me. So that's the narrative I'm going with until we hear something else.
Right. I mean, Barb meddling in these relationships once again.
I mean, are we surprised? And I also think it was so funny that she commented on Peter's post, like a full statement and signed it mom and dad. Like, Barb is still riding her wave of fame. And, Peter's contract with ABC expires in March. So I feel like we're going to be talking about him a little bit more in the coming weeks.
I definitely feel like that as well. I think he's going to be ready to spill all in a couple weeks, and I'm sure Barb will be right by his side. But yeah, and then you mentioned Carly and Evan as well, and that was definitely a sad breakup too, because it seems like, they were married for 3 years. They have 2 children. His ex-wife spoke out, said that they, split up in like 2 years ago, and that really wasn't true. It's a lot of complications, and it's really sad.
I know, it's sad because they have kids and they were actually married, so it's a little like less fun when there's a family involved and kids like under the age of 2. But so yeah, I'm sad. I hope that those two kind of the drama goes away a little bit, because I feel like it was bizarre that his ex-wife decided to like do an interview about it. And I don't know how much she would even know, but then Carly has her YouTube channel and she's talking about it a lot, so I don't know. It should be interesting to see what 2021 holds for all of these Bachelor couples, because when they break up, paradise is knocking on the door. Chris Harrison's calling.
It's right around the corner, and we're going to be talking about it every single week right here on Here for the Right Reasons. Well, Sarah, thank you so much. We made it through episode 1, and we got a lot more to go to.
That's right. And Matt James, he is a lovely man. He's doing a great job. But of course, who doesn't need a little advice, especially for his first time on TV, right? And who better than Bachelor Nation to give Matt James advice?
Totally. Yes, we have Tayshia, we have Tyler, we have Catherine and Sean Lowe giving Matt James some advice. We're going to leave you with that, but make sure to tune in every Tuesday on Us Weekly's YouTube channel as we break down all things Bachelor on Here for the Right Reasons. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Main thing, I think you have our support, and we're so excited for you. Continue to be yourself, listen to your gut, and you got this.
I just told him, you know, have fun with it. You know, be you. And I think one of my most important things that I learned from my coach, you know, back when I was playing college football is that he had a saying called he said, be where your feet are. And that's just like, be present, be in that moment, you know, and take it for what it is. You know, don't get enamored by all the glitz and glamours of how amazing these days can be. Be that, you know, really see what this is and be in that moment and see who that girl is for you and see if it can work.
Oh my gosh. Well, first off, very excited for Matt. Without personally knowing him very well, just going off of all the things that I've heard about him, I think he's a great pick. I think that he brings obviously more diversity to the franchise that we all have been wanting to see and are excited to see throughout seasons, you know, not just this year. But I think that he's gonna be an incredible lead, and I think girls are gonna be excited, and I'm excited to welcome him into this franchise. I will say that, you know, jumping into this without doing it before, it can feel nerve-wracking. Even doing it before, it's still nerve-wracking. So I would just, you know, tell him to just, you don't have to be perfect. Just be you. It's okay if you stumble. It's okay if you get nervous. That is normal. We all do it. And just really rooting for him.
Get ready for your life to change. You know, in the next 2 minutes when the first limo pulls up, it's never going to be the same. And it really was, you know, nobody, and I mean nobody, has a perspective. They think they do. When you're on the show, and even when you make it to the final 4 or final 2, you think you have an idea of what it's like. You have no idea what it's like being in the Bachelor or Bachelorette shoes. It is an extraordinary circumstance and a range of emotions. And I told him, you're going to feel it all. There will be moments where you want to punch me in the face and you're going to be crying and upset. And he's like, whatever, man, it's all good. And lo and behold, he didn't punch me. But, you know, there are just these moments. The show strips you down. It takes you on this emotional ride that most people don't understand until you're a part of it.
My hopes for Matt James are that Bachelor Nation really embraces him and lifts him up during this process, because every person I know that's been a lead has said it's one of the most challenging experiences of their life. And having not been on the show previously as like a contestant or how it normally works, I feel like he's probably in for like a ride of a lifetime, but it can also come with so much, you know, negativity. So I'd say block out the haters. We're all so excited for you and to watch you, and can't wait for your season to start.
What advice would I give Matt James? First of all, Matt's awesome. I got to talk to him, and he's incredible, and I love him, and I know we'd be just best friends if he lived here in Dallas. I think he's going to be great. I would say my biggest piece of advice would be, don't let all the stuff after the show distract you from who you choose, because it's super easy to allow that to happen. And you think you're a big shot because you're on all these shows and everyone wants your attention and you're getting paid money for this and that. But it's all about the woman, and that's what needs to be your main priority.
Just to be open and to be yourself. And try not to force anything, and just let it come natural. I mean, he's kind of in a good position where he gets to, you know, see what he likes and what he doesn't like, but it's also a super difficult decision because he's got to let 24 girls go. So I think just being able to be open and honest with yourself. Like I haven't watched that show in a while, but I did end up watching the recap of our season, and it was kind of it was fun for me to watch because I was able to, you know, sit back, and it was like I was watching a completely different person, but I was also like proud of myself for being open and put myself out there, and so I had fun watching that. So I think I would just say to him to just be open and to let it come natural.
What's crazy is Matt James hasn't been on one season, so he doesn't know any of the chaos, which could work so much for him or so much against him. When you show up as a cast member and not the lead, you're like, you start off as this like kind of inferior side where you don't have any control of what's going on. And he's going straight into this more controlled role where he doesn't feel like his fate is being like quote unquote decided for him. So I hope that works to his advantage.